Oh, greetings and salutations, all y'all
Hello there.
metalheads, people,
Sorry.
colors, stickers, paintball guns.
Just
Yeah.
uh
I'm Paul.
things. Oh god, bad timing as I was taking a swig of water. I'm George, by the way. Hi.
And we're just a couple metalheads who like to listen to metal because it's awesome lit, awesome and lit, awesome and lit. This calculator over here, you can't see it.
Awesome. Gotta calculate the price of concert tickets with that, man.
Yeah, that's what I do in my free time. Well, George, how are you doing today, George?
What voice is that?
I don't know. Am I like Mickey Mouse? Oh, hi there. Hi. I want some bread.
It sounds like Mickey Mouse.
You want some? You want some wood?
No.
Oh, is that a sock? I like socks sometimes. Sometimes I like picking them.
Sometimes I like a little sock called
That's a great voice I can do. How about this one? My precious. Does that sound like Gollum?
Yeah, this is pretty like Gollum.
My precious. I like it juicy and raw and scrumptious.
You keep nasty chips.
It sounded to me when I did that more like the Emperor.
Yeah.
No, you
will die.
What they in this that whole movie for Revenge of the Sith is just meme after meme after meme after meme with Emperor Palpatine.
All three of them are meme gold mines. The internet has
especially the third one.
This. Yes.
Have you heard that sail? Have you heard that sail of Darth Plagueis
the wise?
He can save everybody, even himself, but not himself.
Okay, so some exciting things to talk about.
What?
Pretty lit things.
I was talking about things.
Yes, but like Pablos, what are we doing today? Could you tell us?
Oh, what are we doing today?
Yeah, what are we doing today?
God, what was that I just did? I sounded like old lady person.
Oh, you sounded like Mrs. Doubtfire, dear.
I like to listen to music. I like my favorite bands are Muse, Sepultura.
Oh, that's a good one.
I like listening to the sound of the waves hitting the little rocks, and the rocks go ah.
And the dog screams at the dam.
I also like Deicide. and Bono's self-titled album that will never be released that I pretend is real.
Oh no, Granny.
Bono is like friggin' Bono is like the definition of the wannabe American who's not American. Hello, I'm Bono. On my album Joshua Tree, we're going to talk about how we like to talk about America. I am an American. I was born in Ireland, but I want to just live in America because I always talk about it.
Pablos, can I just say, we got a lot of cool stuff to cover. We got to get back on track. As much as I love going off on these tangent roads with you,
Bono, I agree with him. We're about to talk about American things because all these people we're about to talk about are American, except for one, which is French.
Yes.
We forget, man.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
What are we talking about? So, a few days ago, as we're recording this lovely video, this band called Deftones. Have you heard of them, George?
I have indeed.
Wow, no way. Yeah, they're pretty cool. Yeah, they announced that they would be releasing a new album called Ohms or OHMS.
Ohms. Yeah, I think it's Ohms, right?
Ohms. Yeah. And
Yeah.
first impressions, I gotta say, interesting artwork choice.
Yes, agreed. It kind of reminds me of the Red Fang album cover that you showed me, the ghosts,
Only ghosts.
yeah, kind of
The
reminds me of that. It
weird,
feels
yeah.
it's very geometric and optical illusion-y, like on first impression, which is kind of
Illusion.
cool. Definitely something. It's definitely an artwork choice that Deftones has not done yet. The closest thing that they got to that was Saturday Night Wrist, but that was just using like lines and circles and things like that.
I
And
mean,
so that was
Gore.
like a vague geometric like shape oriented choice. So
Gore had also a weird repeating pattern thing
oh, was there?
of like it's the one with like the flamingos.
Yeah, it was just a picture of flamingos with the word gore on something.
Yeah, it's very Deftonesy that this album cover for Ohms, and
Yeah,
pre-order it right now. I've done
yeah.
it myself. Uh,
I'm
we are unofficially sponsored by Deftones album. Oh wait, Ohms. Pre-order it now on the Deftones website. Go to deftones.com, click a link, and you'll get right there. All sorts of stuff. You can buy an Ohms sweatshirt, an Ohms the shorts, hat, and a
yeah.
limited, yeah, and you can also get your CD. Pre-order the other vinyl, and there's a special vinyl on there which is for pre-order edition only, and it's gonna be white and it's pretty special. I pre-ordered one, the cool sweatshirt. I'm excited. We're all excited. Mickey
Yeah.
Mouse is excited. Oh yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's gonna be
It's Mickey
awesome.
Mouse.
Remember, we are unofficially sponsored by Deftones. Woo!
Wow. That was quite the sponsor, the
Yeah.
unofficial sponsorship.
Thank you.
Bit.
I just want to thank the members of Deftones for letting us have that. I got
Yeah.
last night. He let us
Thanks,
unofficially sponsor,
thanks, Gino and Steph Carpenter. We love you guys.
and all
But
the
yeah,
rest of the
like
members who I can't remember. I'm sorry.
yeah, you guys are
Sorry.
great too. You're all great. You're all great.
I feel
Love
like
you
an
guys.
idiot. Before we start, may I have the honor of looking up on my iPod? Yes, I have an iPod. That's touchscreen. The rest of the members of
Yeah.
Deftones.
Oh
I'm
God.
gonna go to
Oh,
I guess
the
I'm going to
composers.
deftones.com where you can pre-order your album because I clicked enter on accident.
Well, while my co-host here is searching up the names of the remaining members of Deftones, I just wanted to share a few thoughts. It just becomes ASMR. just get
Yes.
all close up into the mic. No, I'm kidding. But seriously, I'm very excited for this record. I'm definitely thinking about pre-ordering a copy, just because I've gotten to know this band a lot better over this year, thanks to you, Pavlos. And I want to say that I think Gore was definitely a decisive record amongst the Deftones fan base. Um, I personally liked it. Stylistically, though, it had a few interesting things going for it. Like there's a lot of good emphasis on dynamics, musical dynamics and structures. For example, like prayers and triangles, quiet verses, and then this explosive ethereal chorus,
Great
as
song.
as well as Doomed User and Gore being very, very heavy tracks. But the thing about that record for me was it was a little hard to grasp at times because the it was weird. It's almost like it was almost prog metal in a way that everything was kind of had odd tempos and it had odd rhythmic and musical compositional choices that just weren't easy to groove to, unlike past Deftones material. So it took a few listens just to start to comprehend it for me. Um, but I think Gore leaves open a really interesting fork in the road for Deftones to choose with this record, because they could expand on this new direction and improve it, because again, there was definitely some promise with what Gore was doing musically. They could go back, like go old school, like maybe like Diamond Eyes or White Pony-esque stuff, or they could just go in a completely different direction. One of the great things I think about Deftones is the fact that they've never been really bogged down by trying to commit to a certain style. They've been willing to experiment and adapt and change their sound, and the fan base has been pretty darn loyal because of that.
Yes, they have a fan base that some people might call, in one sense, annoying, because they're the type of fan base, and I know this from experience because I am a huge fan of this band, who will find whenever they can to talk about that band somehow, some way. And one of those bands, there's some pop
Yeah.
bands who are like that, like Propaganda is like that.
Mm.
Before I get into what I was going to join you, we had the members of Deftones are Stephen Carpenter, Abe Cunningham, Chino Moreno, Frank Delgado, and Sergio Vega.
Cool. Nice.
All right, now on to what you were saying. All right, so this lit band Deftones. So this is what I've noticed from their sound. When they release an album, let's start from the beginning, Adrenaline.
Yeah.
Out of all their albums, it's their most un-Deftonesy, because they were still trying to figure out their signature Deftone sound. Lyrically, it's completely different from the rest, because he's more taught. I think his lyrics at the time were more like, oh, let's write about this and this. Let's just get this out there, like, on paper.
Right.
Whereas as on the most of the later records, he's kind of doing a story. He's telling us it's a weird stories that are non-normal in music, but nonetheless. Whereas Adrenaline, I think, I could be wrong, has some political stuff, more of a Rage Against the Machine crossed with some maybe even though Slipknot hadn't released an album yet at the time, Slipknot self-titled-ish feel.
Yeah, I mean, I think I think Adrenaline was definitely their most aggressive record in their new metal vein phase.
New metal.
Yeah, and I think at the time that album was released, Slipknot was an underground band in Iowa, and they think they might. I can't remember the release date of 8 Feet Kill Repeat, but that might have been out around that time.
Yeah, it may have.
Certain, but like they weren't signed to Roadrunner, and they didn't get their official start until 1999, as most metalheads know. Yeah. But yeah, like I know what you're saying. It's definitely it's definitely been. I would love to talk to a Deftones fan like that discovered them back in 1995 and talk to them and see what they thought about their evolution, because that must have been such a weird experience,
like Linkin Park,
to go through. Oh God, I could hardly imagine for Linkin Park fans. That one might have been a little rough.
Yeah, but going back to what I was talking about with Adrenaline. So
yeah,
it came with this sound, and then what they did was with Around the Fur. They kind of had this. They kept it. They had a sort of similar sound, heaviness.
Yeah.
But then Chino started becoming like. He started writing tracks that would be actual Deftonesy songs. My Own Summer, and especially Be Quiet and Dry.
Yeah.
He started writing stories and stuff, but then when they got to White Pony, that they just became pure Deftones. Every song on that album is completely different from any of the other songs in the album, and it's like, but somehow each song somehow the album cohesively flows with all the
Yeah.
songs that are complete. Like you've got Digital Bath, you got songs like Digital Bath, and then you have like a song like Elite, where Elite is screaming the entire time, and then Digital
Yeah.
Bath he's just singing. And
Right.
it's about that was it was like a weird they did their weird offbeat sound with weird but really enchanting vocals over everything. It was strange.
Yeah.
And they kind of kept with that theme, but really got almost overly into it with their next album, which was their self-titled. It's definitely their weirdest album. It's the weirdest to listen to. It's not normal. Unless you're
No.
really into strange records that are like, excuse me, what did I just listen to? I mean, Minerva is the only song on there that I guess you could listen to and go, yeah. And then the rest are like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, definitely, I think still to this day, Deftones self-titled is that was a record for me that I still have like a tough time fully jamming to. I think if you look at each of the songs individually, it's really good stuff.
Mhm.
Like, I mean, you have When Girls Telephone Boys, which is like one of their heaviest songs. You have Hexagram, which is almost like a kind of a callback rhythmically to
Yeah.
how like My Own Summer kind of worked. And then you have like songs like Moana and Minerva that have these beautiful vocals, like like these beautiful ethereal vocals by Chino, and very melodic and kind of explosive in that sense of the word. Again,
Yeah.
like more of that soft, loud dynamic. But it definitely was. It's definitely, I think, if you sit down and listen to it, it definitely feels kind of rough around the edges. I mean, it doesn't flow as cohesively as Around the Fur or White Pony, for that matter.
White Pony flowed about as cohesively as an album can flow.
Yeah, for sure.
But
Absolutely.
what was I gonna? Yeah. Before we go on to what I was gonna continue with, but I'm gonna say
Yeah.
that my favorite song, and this might be up there with one of my top 5 favorite Deftones songs, is Battle Axe, which is off that album. And I really
Yeah.
that song I really got into it after when I came back to the album, and I haven't come back to that album a lot, but it's a cool record. First, I talked about this before in a prior episode that first Deftones album I listened to. Definitely would not recommend that to anyone else. That or Gore, which were my 2 first records.
That's a rough start into a band.
Then the album that is the weirdest. That's another weird one. They went into Saturday Night Wrist, which a lot of fans either hated it or loved it. I don't know. Before we do anything, I just don't understand how people. The song Pink Cell Phone, though people who are like, hey, it's great. I'm like, where I don't understand that song, Pink Cell Phone. It's so strange. If you're in love with that song, I don't get you.
Oh well, that brings an abrupt ending to our friendship, then, doesn't it?
Oh, you liked it a lot?
Yeah, well, Saturday Night Wrist, that is, I think that record is probably one of my favorite Deftones records, up there with Around the Fur, Adrenaline, and White Pony for me. And Diamond Eyes, of course. It I don't know why, but it just works. There's something about it. It flows just a little bit better than self-titled. It's basically self-titled, but it flows a little better in my opinion. And the songwriting, I think, just for whatever reason, I don't know. Again, I'm kind of fishing for a reason here, but I think the main reason, for whatever reason, that album to me just had, there's something about it that just clicks. You know what I'm saying? You know, when you like listen to a record and you don't know why you like it, but you just do.
Yeah.
I don't know. That I think that was with me and Saturday Night Wrist for whatever reason.
Interesting. Yeah, that's an example of fans either hating it or loving it. I
Yeah.
don't. I mean, you would understand why it's not. It's
Mhm.
a weird record. There's weird songs on there, but
Yes.
I mean, I love "Hole in the Earth." I love "Mine," which might. I think it's mine.
Mhm.
Called "Mine." It never says the
Yeah,
word.
it's mine.
That might be the best song on the record because first
Mhm.
we got Surge.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sir Tankian Assad.
yeah. Sweet.
That should.
Sweet. Yeah. That was an album that it's not. It's also an album that I think is, if I remember, Chino's least favorite album that they were.
It makes sense. I mean, he was going. He was, that was the height of his drug abuse, I think, and also his most tumultuous with his romantic relationship at the time, or his love life rather. So I could definitely see how that is his least favorite album. Yeah, you could definitely tell he. I mean, you could definitely tell with songs like "Rats, Rats, Rats" and "Rapture." He definitely very frantic when he got angry. It was quite discombobulating when you listen to those songs for the first time.
It's yeah, it's not his favorite record. In part, it's also
Yeah,
the album where they, as a whole, as a band, all didn't work cohesively as a group
yeah.
very well. That's why they don't play very many songs off of it. I mean, the last song they'll occasionally play like Kim Dracula
Mm,
live, but yeah,
that's a random song choice.
yeah, they'll do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, they had, and then they worked on. Well, then there was Eros, which never came out. But then they had what
Diamond
fans
Eyes.
would call the next White Pony, but completely different.
Yeah.
Diamond Eyes, which reset this. They were at a point where a band really they would release an album, then release some album, a great album, which was White Pony, and then they had a couple albums and were like,
Mhm,
okay, I don't know where this is gonna head. This could be bad. I don't
mhm,
know. They were this is like, to
mhm.
the point where people were like, oh no, and then Diamond Eyes comes in and it's just swoops. It just takes the fans
Yeah,
back up to the top in a whole other way. And
yeah.
Coin
And I
did the same
yeah,
thing.
Koino Yokon was like it was basically in the same vein, if I remember correctly. And
Just
then
fans would call it a little step down. I think it's a bit better, but
mhm,
for most fans, it's just a little step down, but still up there with. It's a top
yeah,
one of their top for a lot of fans. It's one of their top three albums.
and then we had another self-titled, uh
Thing with
another, yes, Gore was kind of on the same levels as like
yeah,
eh,
it's
on like self-titled and Saturday Night Wrist. When you look at the fan base as a whole, like on average, definitely kind of goes down with self-titled
they they
and
also
Saturday Night
didn't
Wrist.
they also didn't work as cohesively. It wasn't like Saturday Night Wrist cohesive, but it was the way the band has their sound is because they all want different things. But to this album, it was in a different way. Like there were songs that they were that Stephen Carpenter was like uh, about. He was
Mhm.
about the whole album, and
Well,
you
it
could tell
well
when you
it
listen to some of the songs.
well you could tell that he did not get a lot of what he wanted on that record. I mean, primarily, in retrospect, you know, they're like, yeah, that was like creatively, that was good. We had a little creative friction, and it helped, and it helped us, you know, create some cool stuff. But you could definitely tell he got the short end of the stick. I mean, it was a lot. It's a lot of um, light melodic riffing on that record. Not
Yeah,
a lot of like really heavy riffs like you would bust out on My Own Summer, Elite, you know, stuff like that.
occasionally they would
So
have a little thing like Like at the end of Phantom Bride, there was this weird heavy thing that they did, and then
Oh yeah.
great song. One of the two of my two favorite songs are Phantom Bride and Prayers Triangles.
Yeah, those are
Those are the songs
two good
that
songs.
those are the fans of the songs that the fans like a lot. And now we
And
have
a new song.
Ohms. The new
Yeah, the
song
title
came
track.
out
Yeah.
entitled Ohms. It's the last song on the record, but it's really, really good.
Absolutely.
It might be one of my favorite Deftones songs I've heard. It's probably the best one of the. It might be the best song I've heard this year that came out.
Yeah, and if you don't mind, I I just wanted to say, like, I too found this song incredibly enjoyable, and again, like listening to it, it's a very different style from Gore, and it kind of almost goes back to a Diamond Eyes. It's more back to basics in some ways in terms of composition and structure. There's a lot of emphasis on the riff and like an easy like to groove to. Chino's vocals, of course, always amazing and spot on. But and another thing that I noted when I was listening to that song was it it was there was more of a subtle and cohesive compromising of Chino's musical background and Stephen Carpenter's. Because one of the things that I wanted to note on Gore was it sometimes felt like Stephen was just doing some metal riffs and then Chino was doing his own thing with like spacey ambient vocals, whatever, atmosphere, whatever you want to call it. It just kind of felt like these musical components were bouncing around in the same song and they somewhat gelled together, but not really. And again, like I said, the album wasn't terrible by any means. It just was a little weird at times.
Yeah, it was a little rough.
But with this new song, Ohms, this was the smoothest blending of their two musical backgrounds and styles that I've seen in a long time. Because there was neither really super heavy metal riffs or overbearing ambient atmosphere. It was more like it was more of a balance of the two. You had this like walls of really of a melodic hard rock riff that was really easy to groove to, and then you had these subtle atmospheric choices behind that wall of sound. And Chino, obviously, his singing style conjures that that very spacey atmosphere in general.
Very enchanting voice.
That's
very
the word.
And even one of the voices that you can just go, Chino, it's you.
Yeah, very distinctive. So I think that was my biggest praise of this song it was a really good blend of their metal side and their ambient alternative side, and it works really well.
Yeah, they're that band that proves that you don't have to be like overly heavy to be the biggest band in the world. Like this song proves that. Like this wasn't their heaviest song, but it might be one of their best.
Yeah,
because it's
for sure.
So well, and there's something like the verses and the chorus, they just flow so well together. It's like you don't even notice that there's a chorus. It just seems like a song. It's like a musical. The song. It seems like this album, it's gonna be another reset album. Like White Pony was what set them, and then they got a reset with Diamond Eyes because song Diamond Eyes, which opens up the album Diamond Eyes, it's like nothing they've ever heard before. It's a perfect flow between something super heavy and something just super melodic and flowy. And this song is just like it flows so. I don't even know how to describe this. It's a beautiful track. It's amazing. it's gonna be a Deftones classic for, I think, for
Yeah, I mean, give it some years. I mean, you gotta let the fans digest it. But to me, I definitely think this song, if the rest of the album, if their material is on point with
yeah.
Ohms, it we definitely could be looking at another album that goes up there with Diamond Eyes and White Pony for sure. Because um again, like the Diamond Eyes, it was the same thing. It was that clever, subtle blend of metal and ambient atmospheric that's what made that record work. I mean, because you look at like Rocket Skates, right? Like very pretty
Yeah,
heavy riff, but you have Chino singing and it
and
works.
screaming.
It just gels so well. So I definitely think that we could be looking at a really tight and cohesive record ahead
Yeah.
of us.
Chino said that in a recent interview that the song Ohms, the reason why they chose that to be the first song, the main song, is because he said it gives you a perfect scope of what the album will be
Mm,
as a whole.
mm.
It's a blend of,
Interesting.
yeah, and so I think I get he's getting old and he's not going to scream. He might not want to scream as much, but that's
Yeah.
okay with that. I love hearing Chino sing just as
Hmm.
he'll probably scream, but I'm not. The album's not out yet, but yeah. And something else cool about this album: it's the first album where Stephen Carpenter uses a 9-string guitar.
Ooh,
I think for every
interesting.
track. I could be wrong, but
Dang.
it's pretty cool.
Interesting. Huh.
Yeah, I'm excited. But yeah, that's all I've got for Ohms. You got anything else about it? Want to say?
No, yeah. I mean, I basically said I think we just need to buckle in because
Yeah,
that album is gonna be a trip.
it's out in about a month from
Hmm.
tomorrow because it's August 24th today, and tomorrow will be August
Hmm.
25th, and I believe a month after that, on the 25th of September. Wait,
Okay.
yeah, September. I believe it's gonna be. I believe that's a release date, somewhere around there. But it's gonna be great. I can't wait.
Hmm.
I'm excited. All right, I haven't been this excited since We Are Not Your Kind.
Dude, I was so hyped for that record.
The
Oh,
song I will say before we go into our next thing, Ohms was
yeah.
like it's nothing like Unsainted, but it's like that in a set like
Like
oh it makes it gonna
in
be a great like as soon as I heard Unsainted I was like as soon as I was done with that song I was like oh Slipknot's coming back and they're gonna come back hard.
absolutely. I mean, well, because and really briefly, the thing about Unsainted was it's you saw Slipknot doing something that prior to that they hadn't really done before. They didn't really utilize like a choir or something
Yeah,
like that
it
in
just
a
and
song.
it works so well because it captured you. I mean like the I might insert that
Yeah.
right here just to give the example. Hearing that,
Yeah.
it's like that's not it's nothing like Slipknot. I mean, it is now, but before that Slipknot's never done that. But then it hit hard,
Yeah.
and then it sounded like a Slipknot song, and then
Hmm.
perfect blend to something that's not Slipknot, but is also Slipknot. That's what that song is.
Yeah. So next up on our bucket, this next song, this was released. What was this?
Within the
This
last
was like,
month,
was it the last month? Okay, yeah.
every song oh yeah, we're gonna be talking about a bunch of new release songs now, basically.
Yeah. Hmm.
This first song is from one of the best things that France has ever given us. Just like the Eiffel
Besides
Tower.
baguettes.
Yeah, baguette and the Eiffel Tower.
Baguette.
Yeah, oui, baguette.
Oui, oui, Gojira.
Yeah, Gojira. The song
Yeah.
called "Another World."
Yeah.
Took me one listen, and I was like, eh. And then second listen, ah. All right, George, what do you got to say?
Um, I'm kind of right there with you. It definitely deserves a smooch on the cheek, or maybe even on the lips. You never know.
A French smooch.
French kiss.
A Gojira French kiss.
But I think, yeah, it's a great song. It's kind of where they left off with Magma. It's definitely in that same vein of writing where it's the song's centered around a riff, and then the song kind of built out from that, and it's a bit more straightforward and less proggy than some of their past material, but
yeah,
there's a few twists this time around. Hence the name of the track, and this is maybe where they got the name for the track from. That riff is futuristic and maybe even almost optimistic. It's a very cool tone. Like emotionally, it really is different for what they do.
And lyrically, it's different because they're talking about like a whole another world, another place, a whole.
Yeah.
They're going, and the music video is them going into like a cartoon versions of them going into a rocket ship and leaving, and it's like, oh, they're gonna try and find something and discover or they're hopeful for something that might happen, or they might leave. Like they've talked about in a lot of songs, like there's a lot of songs where they talk about issues with environmental issues, which is really weird for the band. Like in their song Toxic Garbage Island, it's about like it's basically about what's that thing called?
Water pollution.
Yeah, the what's that area in the world where it's just trash, like on an island?
Oh God. It's an island of trash. I remember.
Yeah, it's like that. That's basically what the song is called.
Got it.
About.
Interesting. Yeah, so I definitely think that they're definitely making a statement with a title like that, and I'll get into that a little bit later. But lastly, like again, like their stuff off of Magma, this song balances again. It's that great balance of melodic and heavy that they started doing with Magma. That juggle act that they just do so well, and moreover, the song's theme, this idea of going to another world, very, very relevant. And I wanted to give this guy a shout out because I was reading some of the reviews for this song just because I was curious of what people were thinking about it. And this user called I Don't Want to Be Right Now. Oh, sorry, I actually messed it up. Yeah, Pavlos, cut this out, please. Don't
It'll be added, sir. Nope, it's all going in.
Oh, why, dude? Okay,
sorry, sir, we're gonna have to put that all in. And that.
Okay.
And that.
I sometimes don't get you.
And that. And that. And that. Oh, yeah, I'm done.
So this iTunes user, I don't get it anymore, said, and I quote, "Another world is where a lot of us want to be right now." And when you think of it that way, it definitely gives the song a lot of extra oomph and meaning, because this is a song that is voicing what so many of us around the world are feeling being in the midst of this pandemic. We want to just be anywhere but in the midst of this god-awful thing that's constricting our lives.
If you want to be here, then I don't know. You can. I don't get you if you want to stay in this. Sure, it could be worse, but then again, it's still not perfect. It's still not normality.
Yeah. Just in general, I think just in general, that's what music is, or that's what makes music such a powerful force amongst us, right? Because, or just this powerful connection of artist to fan, that the artist gives the voice to the voiceless, or the person that didn't know what they were feeling something, but they didn't know how to phrase it, and then the music gave them the words to express that feeling, right? Like that is we get that a lot with a lot of bands and and fans expressing their love for those bands. So in that regard, Another World is definitely very powerful. In it's a very powerful song because again, it's giving us that level of expression. It's giving fans that voice that they're feeling, and it definitely could be cathartic in some cases. But in general, I'm just really excited to see if maybe our new album by them is close behind. And a pet peeve of mine is just a band releasing a single and then not attaching it to their new album. I don't know why. That's one of my pet peeves as a music fan. So I hope this new song is on their upcoming record.
Is that comes out. Is that how you felt with All Out Life?
I mean, I was just dying for some new Slipknot, so I didn't really care. I didn't really care at the time, but yeah, in retrospect, it was just a little weird. And I get it. I get it why they released it that way, because it didn't really fit the flow of We Are Not Your Kind. And upon listening to that record, where could you fit All Out Life besides at the end, right? Like that record was We Are Not Your Kind was so cohesive, and it was hard, and you could definitely see like All Out Life is a fantastic song, but they just didn't know where to put it.
Yeah. But so, without that release, we wouldn't have gotten the name We Are Not Your Kind.
That's true. It was a clever little hint at the album that was coming up.
Yeah,
but
anyway, and Corey said that they didn't plan on having that be the title name, and they were just like, and then they just kept on seeing the words "We Are Not Your Kind" being reposted because people really liked that chant, and they were like,
"Cool
album name," and
nice.
All right, so my opinions on Another
Gojira.
It seems like every album they release, it's like they take what they've done with their last album, but add a little something. And then that little something they added, they would focus on in the next album, but also add a little something. Mm-hmm. So it's like folding. Like salvage, baguette, French toast, France, Sonic the Hedgehog was not made in France. I like hot dogs. What am I talking about? I'm like, yes. Misa like the Gojira album.
What my co-host is trying to say here is, it's like, in a way, they were they're laying bricks down
to build a house,
to perpetuate their musical
home
journey. Yeah, precisely. They're building their
own house that is French tower in Paris called the Eiffel Tower, except it's called the Gojira Tower of songs and albums and lit things.
Let's just. I think it would be best if we just use the metaphor of their discography as the house. But I mean, if you want to
tower in Paris
as a towel, okay, sure.
A towel? Whatever. Yes, a towel. They're building a towel.
Whatever. Okay, but yeah. So I get what you're saying. Like they're adding little bits and pieces into their musical concoction, if you will, to spice it up and to give it some new oomph, some new life.
Yeah, I'm excited. It's gonna. I'm hoping the next year we get something. But if we don't, I will be happy with it. I will. Mm-hmm. I enjoy Another World. I'll probably put it on my playlist eventually, and yeah, we'll see.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Next.
Up next, this guy. This guy. A lot of people know him.
His name is Marilyn Manson. He's Marilyn Manson. Weirdest dude.
Yeah. Enough said,
Music,
man.
maybe. He's a strange genius.
Indeed.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
Marilyn
he released
Manson.
but yeah, he released the single "We Are Chaos" off
Kind of.
the record off the upcoming record of the same name.
Yeah, and
Makes sense.
to me, that song was kind of like another world, sort of. Except about how to me, it felt like what we feel like now. Because
Yeah.
we need like they do all these things. We are, yeah. It's kind of hard to describe for me, but yeah, kind of.
Yeah, I was the same thing with you. I didn't really know what to think of it. I was listening to it and I'm like, okay, this is very down in the dumps mood here. Very sad.
Took a few
I
listens,
got a lot
but
I got a lot of vibes from, in terms of comparisons, I drew a lot of comparisons from his song "Running to the Edge of the World" off of the record the highest end of low.
mm-hmm.
And like, again, like that song was like acoustic based. It was kind of more sad in terms of mood. And I think the new record will be just that. I think it might be just like a sad, like a very sad, dreary, mooded record, right? Because
Yeah,
Heaven Upside Down was a lot more aggressive and at times optimistic in its approach. It was a more it was more akin to some of his older material, because like you had um but
yeah.
yeah, so I think this will be Heaven Upside Down's juxtaposition, where Heaven Upside Down was upbeat, angry, and more optimistic. This one's going to be more acoustic based and sad. And
Yeah.
I don't know. Well, I'll have to see. I'll have to wait and see what the rest of the album sounds like. I don't think I'm not hitting the pre-order button quite just yet, but we gotta wait and see what the other songs sound like.
It was a cool song. It grew on me. I kept listening to it over and over again, and it grew on me, and I'm enjoying it a lot. I won't necessarily come back to it all the time, but it's cool to see that he's doing things. Yeah, it's good to see he's not dead yet.
God, I do not know how he's.
He's gonna collapse on stage one day, and he'll be like, "Bye, everybody," and then he'll just die.
Well, that would be sad. And
then Rob Zombie's just gonna show up and be like, "Dig through the ditches." And then we'll get and then what will happen is a giant door will open from under the earth, and then what will happen?
There's a hole in the air.
Yeah,
there's a hole in the air.
Hole in the earth right now.
There's a hole in the earth.
Yeah, and then like Lemmy's gonna come out
and take his corpse
and take his hand, and then his corpse will get up and go, "Lemmy, I thought you died." He's like, "You're coming with us." And then like Chuck's gonna be back there. A bunch of beautiful dead people.
Beautiful dead people. Oh God.
Dimebag's gonna be there.
Dimebag, yeah.
I'm blanking on a bunch of other names.
But he'll ascend. When he dies, he shall ascend.
They're all gonna stand there and gonna be like, Marilyn. Oh no, Manson. I can't think of anything. It'll just be like, he's like, oh, he'll be like,
it's time to go to rock and metal heaven, my child.
And then Lemmy's gonna be like, my child, it's time to go. He's if anyone in metal is gonna, when someone dies in metal and they're like in the metal scenes, I swear Lemmy's gonna be there. He'll be like smoking a cigar going,
oh, absolutely.
Metal heaven.
Metal heaven.
Here's the Ace of Spades. Let's check your ticket in. Say hi to Chuck in there. And Kurt's on the left. Don't mind him. He's still trying to find a way to do his drugs, but yeah, don't mind him.
Yeah.
Oh, and say hi to Sid Vicious for me. I don't know what Elvis Presley's doing here, but he decided to go in there. He's not really metal. He just showed up. He's trying to find his dog, apparently. It's a hound dog.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, yeah, so We Are Chaos. Pretty good song. Woo. All right, what's next?
All right. Next, we got
This guy needs no introduction whatsoever.
As George, who's the dude from Soulfly? Oh, Max Calavera.
Yeah.
Calavera. He said it, Mr. Corey Taylor.
Nice.
And then he'll come up and he'll be like, "Hi." I don't know. That's the worst Corey Taylor impression I've ever done. Two new songs.
Corey Taylor. 2 new songs by Corey
and
Taylor.
An album coming out called CMFT.
I wonder what that means.
I wonder why. You can look it up yourselves. Yeah. And first song that he did was, before we get on this,
yeah,
he called this album the album that he has never been able to, because Stone, first of all, so this is some news that I didn't know about till very recently. He said Stone Sour is for right now being, he's gonna put a lid on Stone. They've all decided to put a lid on Stone Sour because they felt like they don't feel like there's much else they can do with it right now. But he said also musicians, so we're not gonna say we're never gonna come back. But for now, we're putting a lid on it. We're not disbanding, but we're just not gonna do anything right now.
That sounds like Disturbed did a similar thing after they did a tour for their Asylum? 2010 album Asylum. Yeah, they were like,
they came back quickly
on a hiatus. Yeah, they came back pretty quickly, like within a couple of years. But yeah, like, you know, some bands just need to do that. Again,
there's a punk band that's only released like 2 albums in the past like 20 years.
Wow.
Because so they're on Fat Mike's record label. Rec and Fat Mike's like, "Hey, you want to do a record?" And they're like, why? Sure, man, not now. We don't care. And they're like they're like the kind of, he's like, they're kind of like the most punk band ever because they just don't care.
Well, yeah, there's that.
Yeah, but
anyway,
CMT
Must Be Stopped
is his first single that's coming up. And it surprised me. I was, he said, well, the whole album is going to have sounds ranging from rap to 50s and 60s, like rock, old school country, like Johnny Cash era. He said he got a lot of inspiration from, I believe, Alice in Chains for this record. So a lot of mix, like, so... Yeah. These 2 songs, both very different. We're going to start with CMFT, Must Be Stopped, which is kind of his own anthem now for his solo record.
It's a good anthem.
And it surprised me.
Yeah, because I watched the music video, which all the listeners, if you haven't, go do that.
It's awesome.
It's a glorious video.
You'll see... some of the great
so many cameos
in the world. Lars Ulrich.
So many. Don't spoiling it. Don't say anything. People are in it.
Not Lars Ulrich and not Marilyn Manson.
Yeah. So point being is, music video is fun because there's a lot of cool cameos.
Yeah.
And stuff and visually appealing.
And it's featuring some rappers.
Yes.
Kid, I believe is Kid Bookie, and
that's one. Yeah.
And, a very famous, a big one, Tech 9, who has been featured on band. He's been featured on a Five Finger Death Punch song. He featured Serge Tankian on one of his songs.
Oh,
he loves his metal. You can tell that he likes metal. I think he's worked with Judas, Rob Halford before.
Oh, nice.
He likes metal, and.
That is cool. I mean, that's always great. I mean, you know, it's so strange to me. The world of rap and the world of metal, you know, they've had quite a few collision courses throughout our throughout the history of each genre.
Yeah.
I mean, you could date it all the way back to when Aerosmith did their collaboration with Run DMC,
And Anthrax
with
did,
Walk This Way.
Anthrax did
Anthrax
theirs. They did.
Yeah, they did Bring the Noise with Public Enemy, and
Ice-T
even
made
then-
Ice-T made a thrash metal band called Body Count, which was basically, in his opinion, the style of Slayer mixed with his rap style that he likes rap.
Yeah, for sure.
And he loves metal.
So-
It's one of his favorite things.
Yeah.
It's one of his favorite genres.
Yeah, so point being is like it's always great to see new bridges between those two genres
Yeah.
appearing, because
And they're
for a
kind of
long
similar.
time-
They work well together when they're combined.
yeah, because they're both aggressive. I think they're both aggressive and very rhythmic in nature, right? So
Like Marilyn Manson loves it. He really likes
Yeah.
rap.
Yeah, for sure.
Eminem brought him on stage once. A
Absolutely.
couple times, actually.
Yeah. But yeah, anyway, so that was really cool to see that, because in terms of the rippage, it was a lot
rock
like
and roll.
Stone Sour.
Yeah,
a lot
but it was
like a
also different. It was
Stone Sour
very,
hard rock.
yeah, it was like a hard
Yeah.
rock. It was pretty original, even though it doesn't sound like it.
Yeah, I and that was one of the things I liked, that it was just this playful, fun rap meeting this like really
Rock
cool,
rap song.
like, this really good, like, yeah, it's a good rock rap song. Rock rap. Oh,
Gets
say
stuck
that
in your
3 times
head.
fast. Absolutely.
The
Very
intro,
catchy.
the first words, I don't mean nothing. I don't mean nothing.
Yeah. So
What are you gonna hear?
so yeah, so it's a really cool song.
Kind of got me excited for the album. I'm gonna listen. I'm going to listen to it when it comes out.
Yeah, another thing that I so sorry to just one more thing here. So after I listened to this song, I talked about it like a couple days later. I talked about it with my dad, and I played a little bit of it for him. And one of the influences that he was throwing out was he picked up on it having a big Kid Rock influence, because Kid Rock was another guy that fused rock with rap. And
Yes, he
you
did.
can definitely tell it definitely bears a similar style. So that's kind of cool. Like, oh man, like for the first time we see Corey Taylor taking his love for hard rock and fusing it with rap music. So I
He
think
loves a lot
that's
of
awesome.
music. He even said that if he could, one of the many people that he wants to work with is Eminem, and he's like, that's probably never going to happen. Oh my God, these dogs. Yeah, all you listeners, my dogs are crazy. You are. I was gonna bark. Nope. All right, we're good. But Corey listens to so much music, and
this next song that he released, the next song that he released as a single definitely proves how wide his palette goes.
Black Eyes Blue.
Yeah, Black Eyes Blue. Very cool. I liked how he released both of the songs pretty quickly.
I think
pretty quickly together. Like he almost released them as like a bundle deal, and it makes sense because like CMFT Must Be Stopped is very much like more of him taking his love for rock and applying it to different areas. Black Eyes Blue is him doing something completely different.
It's like a weird, like 50s rockabilly country sound that's fused with.
Yeah, like it's this upbeat kind of love song.
It's a nice song
that
too.
Blends like soft rock, pop, and and like you said, elements of country. So
yeah,
it's definitely like a cool mix of genres that we haven't seen him touch on
before we
ever.
Yeah, we're going for it. So there are two comments that I just pulled up from the lyric video that I saw. The first
Mm,
one is from Helen Luna. She said
okay.
50 sound 50 she said 50 sounds of Corey. This man can do anything.
Yeah,
Which is great. And the next quote, which is similar, he said this guy it's haha dumbball. What a name.
that's quite a
Haha
username.
dumbball. All right. This person said three versions of Corey Taylor. Corey Taylor, solo soul music vibe. Will hug your nephew Kyle. Another Corey Taylor, Stone Sour, rock. Will party with your nephew Kyle. Corey Taylor, Slipknot, metal. Will stab your nephew Kyle. And it's perfect because he's literally like the most aggressive man, plus like the most chill dude in the world.
Yeah, I mean,
Like
I mean,
if you listen to like Disaster Piece and then listen to Black Eyes Blue, you will never guess that that's the same person.
never.
And that's what
And
I
I
love about
think,
him. It's what everyone loves about
well,
him.
and
It's so
I mean,
cool.
granted, like his arc as a as an artist is very fascinating to witness. Um, because again, you know,
He doesn't care.
he got his start as the lead singer for Slipknot, and
Technically Stone Sour, but they didn't make it big
well,
until
but they didn't
later.
make it. They were like still dwelling in the Iowa
Yeah, they
underground where there was nothing to do.
and then he
And
revamped them.
right, and after he proved that he was a good artist with Slipknot, which was cool to see, then he managed to get Stone Sour back together, and they released their self-titled album.
They had some
So
great records too. Like
absolutely,
House
I've
of
kind of
Golden
always
Bones was the Loudwire called it the best rock album of the 2010s.
well see, and that's the weird thing is we can call it a rock album, but even then it gets heavier to the point where
Tired.
it's more like a yes, I know. Tired is a straight up rock song. I get it. But then there's songs like Are You 486? And then off the part two record, there are songs like Pick and Paw, which are more metal in nature. So it was this it's this weird blend. Stone Sour, it showed us his love for like rock oriented metal-ish stuff.
He said he just wanted to make a cool hard rock.
Yeah.
He felt like he was being too crazy. He was getting too crazy with Slipknot and writing too many dark lyrics. And then and then when when he redid Stone Sour, I mean, all he basically did was took what he did and he basically took the lyrics for Iowa and put them into a calmer thing. Like, if you look at the
Hmm.
lyrics for the song Bother, they're technically some of the darkest lyrics he's ever written. But yet it's one
Hmm.
of his softest songs. Like, wish I was too dead to cry. And then it's like when you think about it, the song is pretty like he gets into a thing about being cutting your wrists and stuff. It's some pretty dark stuff and but not getting fully into that. But him as a songwriter, he's so good at it.
Mhm.
Kind of he speaks from the heart. And I think you could tell like in Black Eyes Blue, he's kind of meaning what he said. I think he might be talking about his wife, who they just
That's what I interpreted was
or the
he
yeah
it definitely was a love song and and uh directed to somebody, obviously probably
wife yeah.
his current wife. Um and yeah, and I think it's just in general his versatility is amazing. And I think that needs to be expressed, like
Yeah.
how versatile he is, because he's like, I can write metal, I can write hard rock, I can write straight up rock, I can write country, I
And
can
I
write
think
blues, I can write pop. It doesn't matter. I can do
yeah,
anything. And
because
that
he's
me
core
and I think
because he's
that's
CMF
so
because he's
cool.
CMFT. He's CMFT.
Hey,
And
not
that's
so
what he's showing in
but
this album. I think he's putting together every other genre that he hasn't released yet, and he's gonna put that into an album that's gonna work cohesively, and then release. And he does plan to. So this is his plan. He's gonna when COVID, when the touring, when we're allowed to go to shows again. He's gonna finish up. He's gonna do another tour with Slipknot for "We Are Not Your Kind," and then he'll do a solo tour. And then he doesn't know what he's gonna do from there. He says there's probably gonna be at least one more Slipknot album, maybe two more. But some of the members of Slipknot are like, one day Slipknot's just gonna disappear. Like we're just gonna just stop. And I mean, to see them before that happens.
Though I mean, and real quick, just to say what you're saying about the solo album that is coming up. To me, it's definitely going to be the album that will put on display every single musical influence that Corey Taylor has experienced within his life. And it's going to be a very creatively fun and energetic recording. I mean, I listened to his interview. He did an interview about this and a few other things with Loudwire. And he talked about how he has a song on the record that he wrote when he was in high school. And he said that it's like this mixture of Johnny Cash, but then there's also like some Pantera in it. So it's, again, like I said, I think it's going to be the definitive Corey Taylor musical influence album. If you want to look at what influences his music, there's the Rogues Gallery. It's that.
Right? I'm tempted to pre-order that album.
I know as much as I encourage and like this creative direction, I don't think I'm gonna buy it. I think
wait and see if there's any other songs or.
Well, it's just like it's cool to see him do this new stuff. I just personally won't be spending my money on it. I don't know.
But if he comes to Portland, we're gonna go.
Okay.
Sure. Thank you.
Got it.
I need to see Corey Taylor someday.
Sometimes.
Look at his beautiful face.
He does have a beautiful face.
Have you seen the acoustic version of "Spit It Out" that he played?
No.
And so instead of get down on the ground, he said, "All right, well, when I say hop on one leg, what are you gonna do?" And everyone's like, "Hop on one leg." I said, "What are you gonna do? Hop on one leg." And then he does the thing, and then he's like, "Hop on one leg," and people are like hopping on one leg while he's doing this acoustic like. All you do is drag me down. All I want to do is stamp you out. Catch it. It's so sketchy.
So funny.
It's really cool. I'll show it to you sometime. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
It just shows that he likes to have fun on stage and.
Absolutely. I mean, you could tell he likes sharing a story. He likes sharing a good story with the audience for sure. So, I think it's time. Is it the time?
We all know what time it is. All our listeners know what time it is. Even though we don't have that many fans, but all our fans, like handful of fans that I can grab, that I can probably fit in my backyard. Not even most of it, but they're all gonna be like, "Oh yeah," but it's not what you think it is. It's our brand new segment of hot dogs. I think hot dogs, you should eat them. I'm just kidding. You all know I was kidding. I wouldn't do that to you.
Segment.
Yeah! 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 Yeah!
Oh, nice. Nice job.
I like my segment. It's pretty good. Do you like drinking tea in the freezer at night? Yay! Yay! Sometimes I like to wake up, go outside,
How did you discover my secret?
and then I like to jump in my freezer and drink tea and then fall asleep. But then I can't wake up because I'm frozen. I'll be like Captain America in the first Avenger.
But it's the yeah segment.
Yeah!
Yeah!
Captain
Okay,
America getting unfrozen. I bet they shoved him in an oven and they went, unfreeze him.
That's totally what happened.
Yeah!
Yeah! Okay, anyway. So today, for our yeah segment, we're going to talk about what our thoughts on for the future of the genre of metal on a whole.
That's right.
The dogs agree. They're excited for this.
Alright, it's happening.
That was just a
Meow,
do it.
meow, meow,
Do it.
meow. Alright, we're good. Alright. Repeat it in case people missed it. I don't want to edit this part out. I had so much fun saying meow. Oh, they're going again. Oh. It's a new metal album. Pablo's Dogs. Featuring members from Deicide, Lamb of God, Coldplay.
We're just going to edit all of this out. We have to. There's just no other way. Apparently they protested this. Okay, fine. Maybe we won't. Yes. We'll respect the wishes, dogs. Don't worry.
I might put some of this in, but not this long at all. Like, it was funny for like a minute, and then it just went like,
Yeah.
ah! Hey!
Yeah.
You shut your mouth! Oh my god, the windows are open. Sorry! I didn't mean it.
Anyway.
I just came up to me and looked at me like, hello, I'm gonna lick your toenails at night.
Anyway, Pablos, so what are your thoughts on the future of the metal?
So, I don't think metal, not at least anytime soon, will reach the height that it had in the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
And the early 2000s. I mean, we have Black
Right.
Sabbath, we might get newer bands, but they won't get as much attention. Like, there are a lot of bands that are huge, that should get as much attention. I'm not saying that, like, there are bands that I love that I know, it's not that they don't deserve it, they just won't get it. And I'm not surprised,
Right.
like Behemoth. I'm not surprised that they're not as big as Slipknot by any means.
Yeah,
But
I think on and just real quick on that one hand, I think it aids them in their performances because I think Nurgle, the frontman for Behemoth, he mentioned this in an interview that he was giving, was that the fact that there are still people that don't know what Behemoth is really makes him want to give it his all at every performance. He wants to introduce his music to people that's never heard it before and try to introduce them to what they're doing. So I think that goes a little both ways. The fact that a band can, if it's in somewhat obscurity, I think that can aid them in their drive for musical excellence.
yeah, and we're getting bands that were great. Like Slipknot's getting old. Like after All Hope, and they started. Everyone's like, they're getting old.
Yeah.
And I mean, I know like Korn's getting they're and we're getting bands that are looking to be the futures of the face of metal. Like whether you like them or not, Ghost are going to be up there.
Yeah.
I think Gojira's a runner for that.
Absolutely.
Even though they've been around, not almost as long as Slipknot has been around, but they've been making their name since like 2010 ish. So for
I think
in the metal culture they've been big. They're still new and we're still. I think we're eventually gonna find a band that's gonna come up with something completely different. Like again, I hate to keep going back to Ghost, but they did
Hmm.
something different, whether you like it or not.
Hmm.
And they took something that was once something that no one wanted to get into, a very dark side of metal, but made it the most completely accessible thing.
Hmm.
Black Sabbathy crossed with maybe ABBA, which is weird
Right.
sound,
Yeah.
which is cool. But I mean, it got old for me.
Right.
But they're going to be one of the bands that's going to definitely be a front runner.
Yeah.
Avenged Sevenfold could become that too, or and Disturbed's has become that. And there's
Yeah.
because Evolution, even Immortalized, was a hit album for them. But
Hmm.
Evolution was like, you know, wasn't the only good song was Are You Ready, in my opinion.
Yeah. A lot of the fan base didn't
Yeah.
like that one, but yeah. But
In
yeah,
this,
I
ooh, one more band. The band
yeah,
that you
absolutely.
have got me in, that you have talked a lot about with me in this moment, based on what I've
Yeah.
seen in their growing steadiness in bands they read. They could be one of those bands that erupt.
Yeah.
Even Nothing More could be like that,
Hmm.
possibly. But even that stretch. I want to say Breaking Benjamin, but they still have a chance to get up there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, the thing is like I definitely think the reason why they, I mean, and I think we could talk about this. The reason why they were such a hit out of the gate back in the mid 2000s when they hit the scene was their sound could rope in some metalheads, but then it could also rope in the fans of Nirvana and Pearl Jam, right? Like
yeah,
it's this
and
blend of kind of grunge, hard alt rock with some like alt metal mixed in.
and
So I could
yeah,
definitely,
and their first album had
yeah.
a lot of screams, which
Mhm.
attracted, which meant that they attracted a big group of people.
Right.
But they definitely put more emphasis. But then they kind of created, which was a unique sound. But then they kept on making even more unique sounds as they went on, which
Hmm.
is all they went through 2, 3 different phases.
But yeah, anyway. But yeah, I think I concur with you. The future from metal to me is pretty bright. I think, as you mentioned before, we've reached the point where the genre, we've reached the point in this genre where mixing metal with other genres has, like, with the obvious genres to mix them with, has reached critical mass. We cannot get any more, right? Like
I think there's going to be
Pantera.
one band that's going to do that, though. There's going to be a couple more bands that are going to find something completely different. They're going to rise up that we have not heard of yet.
I, I think that's completely inevitable. But for the time being, I think,
Yeah,
you know, like bands like Nine Inch Nails, Fear Factory, and Ministry, they combined industrial music and
yeah.
electronics with rock and metal. And then you had Pantera and Machine Head combined like groove,
And all
hard
we're
rock
gonna
with thrash metal, and that created groove metal.
and all
And
we're
then,
getting is similar bands to those who are not who they're
right,
cool, but they're not creating anything different. I mean, one could argue Power Trip is doing something different, but even
they're a
they're not
blend of like,
they're not
they're
getting
like a,
the attention that I don't think I don't think they'll ever get.
they're, they're, they're not getting on, well,
And Red
they're
Fang's
on
doing
the,
that too. Those types of bands aren't getting the attention to get mainstream, even
to
though they
get to them,
definitely
to get
could
to them.
with
Right.
older
And
metalheads
mhm. Yeah, and I think,
because they have like an older sound, like an '80s thrash and
mhm.
Black Sabbathy sound. That's what.
I, and what's cool is in 2021, I know Power Trip is on a bill with Lamb of God and Crater. So
Yes,
that at least will probably get them a good audience, hopefully.
and then
But like I think, as you mentioned before, like we have the a future our future generation of bands have such a fantastic pool of influences to choose from,
mhm,
because we have bands like Metallica, Anthrax, Megadeth, Machine Head, Korn, Rob Zombie, Marilyn Manson, Tool, Slipknot, Behemoth, Meshuggah, Cannibal Corpse, Morbid Angel, etc. Like all
A lot
these,
of bands.
plethora of classic bands that are still around. Like they're veteran bands, and they're still going pretty strong. You know, they're still making albums, still touring. And then you also have disbanded bands like Black Sabbath, Pantera, Slayer, and Death that are also still prominent in sources of inspiration for up and coming bands.
And then
as you mentioned before, we have like Gojira in this moment, Ginger's another big name that could definitely take the genre by storm.
Yes.
And then local bands like Red Fang and Veil. Like we have all these younger metal bands that are gonna be the next generation of the elder metal bands. You know, the elder statesmen that will influence their next generation. After this current group of elder bands starts to peter out. But the problem, I think the main problem is that it's too easy for bands to make music and then post it out into the ether flood that is the internet.
Yeah, and
there are so many new bands and new music
that will
all
never
the time. It's just too much, you know?
Yeah.
And I was watching Nurgle give an interview with the Machine Head rhythm guitarist and frontman Rob Flynn. Nurgle was saying the same thing, that he's seeking more solace in the classics, like just going back to a record that he didn't like and maybe giving that another spin, or trying to discover some other old bands. Like that's what I do. Is like I intentionally just dig around in the classics, you know. That's
yeah.
But anyway, as a result of this influx, this massive inflow of new music by new bands that aspire to make a living, I think people have grown so picky and choosy about when it comes to wanting to give a new band a try. You know, I certainly have done that, where it's just, you're like, God, there is just too much. And like, I sure, I'll give you a listen, but I can't, you know what I'm saying? It's just,
yeah, I get it. I mean,
the digital age is just making it a headache for people to try to find.
It's easy to find bands.
Yeah.
But it's also gives you too much, and it's like,
yeah.
And that's, especially for me, that's a problem because of what I listen to. Because I like metal and I like punk, but then I like all these other bands that are like, and like, I try and give these bands I've already discovered a shot, and then I keep cycling through. I've discovered like 16 bands this year, and discovered. I've actually given chances. I actually figure out that I like 16, 17 other bands this year that I don't even have their music from. And I'm trying to get the rest of the music from all these other bands I like.
Yeah.
But this is a whole different issue about access. But
oh yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, but I don't know. I think we're starting to exhaust a lot of sounds and originalities. Like Sabaton's already done history, combined with power metal, which you can't really do again. And metal is already, it's kind of like what Sabaton does. There's only 3 bands that are even notable that people respect in that genre.
Right, and then you have you already had Sepultura with their Roots album taking tribal music, like taking world tribal music and combining it with metal. But even still, that's like that. There's still some ground to be explored in that genre. But it's kind of already been done with Sepultura.
what System of a Down has, I got, is the same thing because they've combined their Armenian
Hmm.
tribal sounds that
Hmm.
have been used for like hundreds of years and
Yeah.
combine that and that's why their sound is like like because it's combined with another.
Hmm.
And I guess you could explore that with other genres. Like you could take Greek music and I guess put the hardcore metal sound in it. But
Yeah.
I guess you could try and come up with more things in that sound. But
Hmm.
then people would just be System of a Down wannabes, which for that type
Yeah.
of music, there's only one band that is like that.
I could do it. Yeah.
Their System of a Down's one of those bands is just an enigma in metal.
Absolutely.
And same with
Yeah.
like
I mean,
Deftones or even Slipknot, because they're the way the
yeah.
lyrics and sound, and even Korn and any
Faith
big
No More.
band.
Faith
Well,
No
Black
More for
Sabbath,
sure.
a lot of people would like to hear more Black Sabbathy bands. So I think if some bands try to take an older approach or a classic or like what Red Fang does and stuff.
Yeah.
Just asking a question for you. What are
Yeah.
name some bands that whether you like them or not that for you are gonna think are front runners for like this new generate like the next Slipknot, which there's not really gonna be another
But
band
like,
as big, but you know what I mean.
yeah, like I get what you're saying.
Take the
Yeah.
mantle.
Yeah. And I think this is where we can go into some of the more positive things. Like we got a good pool of up and coming bands, like we still have bands like Behemoth, Gojira in this moment. They're like, although they're bands that have been around the block, they're still hungry to
Yeah,
get to a new audience, to be
I
known.
need that hunger.
And then you have and then I think you have a couple bands that I have in mind that could be like new, up and coming bands. This one band from Arizona called Dead. They they released an album, their debut album, Misanthrope, sometime 2017. And then they toured the ever loving bejesus out of it. They first did a summer tour with Korn. Then they did
Wow.
a tour with POD, and then they did several tours with In This Moment, all for that record. And as I mentioned, I think in our first episode that we recorded, they're gearing up for another album, and they've already released two singles, two new songs, and they were debuting plenty of new material on some of the more recent In This Moment tours that they were doing. So those guys, I think they definitely, I mean, they've expressed their influence. The they've expressed a lot of influence of Sepultura, Korn, Slipknot, Linkin Park, like very alt metal based bands that have done alt metal, new metal, that kind of thing. And I definitely think they could keep that genre alive, because I think the problem with new metal was it gets the stigma that Limp Bizkit gets. But not all new metal bands are Limp Bizkit. There are some bands like
Yeah.
Soulfly that utilize the music stylings, the musical stylings of new metal, but isn't garbage, like
Or
it isn't memed.
like I mean, I was gonna say Hybrid Theory, Linkin Park,
Mm,
but I'm not talking about it in the end. I'm talking more like points of authority, one step
yeah,
closer.
yeah,
There's no other sound like I've never heard anything like that.
yeah,
Even when Linkin Park changed, they sounded more like old Linkin Park than most metal bands.
yeah. And I get what you're saying. In fact, I just recently re-listened to Hybrid Theory because I also got the Reanimation remix album. And that
Yes.
It's still a great album. But yeah, so anyway, Dead, they're a band that I really like, for like being like a next Slipknot or something, a big name. Another one is a band that this was recommended to me by a friend from Facebook. We've exchanged correspondence over the past couple of years. And this is a band that she's online friends with the bassist. I don't exactly know where they're from. It's somewhere in Europe, I think. And they're a band called Steel Mage.
Never heard of them.
Now, yeah, well, so the thing about Steel Mage is that so they're all like teenage young adults. So they're really young, but they've posted they have an EP out called The Uprising of Hatred. And I highly encourage, yeah, I know, right? I highly encourage people to go listen to it. It's a great mix of like old school heavy metal, thrash metal, and then even some like old school death metal stylings, like with the guitars and stuff, like really deranged sounding guitars. You know,
pretty
like
lit.
Like kind of like what Cannibal Corpse does. They have like riffs that sound
Smash
really
Face.
deranged and weird. Yeah, the best song ever.
Yeah,
but yes, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Steel Mage is definitely they're another band that I think shows a lot of promise. I think they're still, the vocalist is only 15, so when you listen to the vocals, yes, they're a little rough around the edges, but there's definitely a lot of promise with their with their group. I think they have a merch page where you can buy like some patches, and I think they might have a couple of t-shirts. I don't know, but yeah, go give them some love. I think they're a cool sounding band.
All right.
What about you?
Check them out myself. Oh, me? But,
yeah.
No, I already listed bands that are already big. Like,
oh yeah,
talked about Ghost in this moment. I think of more old school metalheads from like the Black Sabbath era and thrash gave more. I still think if they gave Red Fang a chance, then they could be huge. But another band that I failed to mention was Trivium. They have for a band that is they're like thrash metal meets metalcore. And it's good metalcore. It's not. It's more like Bullet for My Valentine's.
Yeah.
Thrasher.
Remain Fire.
But not as heavy. They're not as heavy. They can be heavy. Like their song In Waves is. It's if you guys haven't listened to In Waves, it's a perfect mix between just hardcore screaming. Like it's got that mix where it goes hardcore screaming straight into really beautiful clean vocals, and then he'll immediately go back to screaming.
Wow,
and it's
nice.
Cool. And if you're into that, then you'll give them a listen. In Waves. They also have an album called Listen to the Sentence, which is awesome. I just started listening to them recently because George is letting me use his ticket that he has an extra of to go see Lamb of God and Megadeth and Trivium and In Flames are opening, and I decided to give Trivium a chance, and I think I don't know if I like him more than Lamb of God, but they're almost kind of neck and neck. It's cool, but Trivium.
And that's a band, again, I talk about another band that's giving the metal name a lot of promise. I have heard literally nothing but good things about that band. I think, granted, definitely metalcore gets a lot of stigma that deters a lot of good, like, and again, definition of good is subjective, but that deters a lot of metalcore bands that have something worthwhile to offer, in my opinion. Like, again, In This Moment started out as a metalcore group, and their stuff was really great.
Yeah. So the first album that you told me to check out was very neat and very interesting.
Yeah, Beautiful Tragedy, their debut, very cool metalcore styling. But yeah, like Trivium, I haven't listened to any of their original material. I've listened to a cover of Sepultura's Slave New World, and it's a heavy cover. They nail it. They nail it perfectly. It's like almost death metal, like growled vocals, and
yeah,
it really does the song justice.
I can't remember the vocalist's name, but I can picture his face because before I listened to them, he was on the face of a lot of stuff. He's like one of those faces that like you say like before I listen to
isn't
Korn.
there a famous picture of him wearing a Slipknot tank top?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
If I remember correctly. Yeah. I'm trying to remember his name. It's like on the tip of my tongue. I followed him on Instagram and
the Instas.
Yeah, and Matt Heffy.
Oh, okay.
He's a cool last name because instead of a V, it's a Heffy, and he has a Heffy voice.
Ooh, he has a high voice.
A Heffy voice. Got it?
Oh.
Heavy metal. I like some heavy metal, but yeah, I think they're a front runner.
Oh.
But yeah. I think that the future in metal is in good hands.
Yeah.
And we're gonna get some unique stuff, and I'm just happy to be a part of it. Happy to be part of that metal community.
Whoop
whoop.
Woo!
Anything else to add to yeah?
No.
Yeah!
Wow, that was a good one.
Yeah!
That was also good. I don't think I can even top those.
I got a great one. Yeah.
Yay! Good job, Pavlos. Woo. Anyway, yeah! So that concludes today's episode
3. The Trinity and yeah.
Trinity.
Yeah. Trinity from
make sure
Matrix.
Yeah.
Starring Keanu Reeves.
Oh, what a dude.
Yeah. Our second unofficial sponsor is Keanu Reeves.
No, please. Oh god.
Yeah, we're not good enough for him. We're not good enough.
No, we're borderline not good enough to be unofficial sponsors.
When we weren't even good enough to be unofficial sponsors of the Deftones at all.
Yeah. But anyway, so thank you guys so much for listening. Make sure to please share this podcast with your
Facebook,
friends, your family. Share that around.
Got an Instagram. It's pretty cool. I don't do anything on it except I post when we update stuff. I should probably post on whether there's on album anniversaries, but I'm lazy, so.
Yeah, so make sure to follow our socials. I think we have don't we have a Facebook page?
No. I should get on.
Oh, not yet. Yeah. So we have a YouTube channel. We have an Instagram account.
We have of course Spotify, Apple Podcasts. You can look us up on this. I uploaded the podcast automatically to this lovely little website called Anchor, and it's what I use to upload the podcasts. I think it's called like anchor.com, anchor.org, and you can just search up just a couple metalheads and it'll be lit and you'll get our podcast. Yeah!
Woo! Nice.
Yeah, I really do like me some metal.
Yeah.
Hope you do too.
That's fine. That's why we're here. So any final thoughts before we close out?
You know the greatest character in Star Wars is?
What's the greatest character in Star Wars?
So in Attack of the Clones, we got this character named Dexter. Remember him?
No. Oh,
he was the dude. Obi-Wan walks in and he goes, Obi-Wan! Take a seat. I'll be there right with you. Wow, what do you know? I haven't seen one of these since my younger days when I did things with my life and I didn't run the stupid little
Diner and Coruscant.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
okay.
didn't have a
Anyway,
wife or a robot who goes, "Someone to see you, honey." That's all.
Yeah. Take care, everybody. Listen to metal.
Remember, always
Take care of
remember,
yourselves.
always remember, rubber ducky.
Yeah!